Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to back to the Standard 81 podcast. My name is Sincere, and I am back for another discussion or, I guess, just topic monologue. Uh, Tonight, we're going to be discussing everybody has an agenda. Before I break into this, let me first go ahead and get the work out of the way. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you are watching this back um, after the podcast is recorded, go ahead and hit second, or go ahead and type second run in the comments. I greatly appreciate it. Please check out the Instagram at Sincere the Artist. You can see the Let's Talk About It. I am up to, I think, 19 episodes now, so I'm kind of hitting it over there. You'll hear different discussions, mainly on relationship stuff, but it's in bite-sized form, so it's not quite what it is here. As well as I will be coming out with one-on-ones. I already got one up with Frank Rose, and I will be coming out with another one on the at the end of this month on Monday with another guest. Soon to let you know. But yeah, let's get into this. Uh, we're going to be talking about agendas today. So let's just get started with the intro. It says here everybody has an agenda. It comes down to uh, what is the agenda and what is the cause for the agenda. And here's what I mean. Uh, in life, everybody has something that they get behind, something that they feel is important, and that can be a faith, a religion, anything, right? And the plan is to get people behind that cause, to get people behind what you feel is important. So that in and of itself becomes the agenda, the plan, the action that you want to come across. Now, in saying that, let me say this: in today's day and age, we hear that term used a lot: agenda, 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 agenda. But I'm here to tell you that the word in and of itself is, and the definition behind it is neither good nor bad. It's all in the interpretation and how it is used, as we will see later, because Christians also have an agenda. Muslims have an agenda. Um, just as much as leftists have an agenda, feminists have an agenda, uh, LGBT has an agenda. Everybody has an agenda. It just comes down to what is the cause and what is it doing, and then how is that cause affecting the people around them. So, like I said, I like to explain these topics very broad because I feel that in order to set a standard, we need to know what the relevance is of these particular topics so that we know how to properly apply them to our daily lives. And let me once again give out a disclaimer. I am a Christian. So I'm going to come out with everything from a Christian perspective. And if that perspective is something you don't rock with, please don't listen to it. Don't take it into consideration. Or if you are listening to it, just take it with a grain of salt, and sink in the knowledge that you can and throw out the rest because maybe it's not for you. But let's move on because I like to define words. So, what is an agenda? An agenda is defined as a list or outlines of things to consider or to be done, underlining an ideology or a program. Once again, I'll state it again. According to the Webster's Dictionary, it is defined as a list or outline of things to be considered or done, underlining an idea or program. So, like I said before, the definition of agenda is neither good nor bad. It is not something that you can say is a good thing nor a bad thing. Because the reality of it is, when you start to try to put words into a box, they oftentimes lose the meaning of that. You oftentimes lose the meaning of that word. What we don't want to do is lose the meaning of the word, right? What we want to do is continue to have that word stand strong in its own context. And then as we put that word into its proper perspective, then it takes on either a good context or a bad context. But I'm gonna just give you the context in which my faith uh, does things. The whole agenda behind our faith, the Christian faith, is for us to spread the message of the gospel and relay the love of Jesus to everybody in the context of preaching, in the context of speaking and living a life that is representative of how we see things. For many other groups and of religions and many other ideas within our culture, they are laid out particularly different. And some of them you're going to agree with, and some of them you are going to disagree with. But I will say this: those things that you disagree with, um, unless they are completely opposite of the things you believe, don't be quick to throw them all out. Listen and try to understand, unless it goes against the framework of what your agenda in life is. For me, certain things about the culture in which we live in today don't align with the agenda that is set up for our particular religion. This is why I don't subscribe to certain things. This is why I feel certain things are bad. This is why I would say I don't do these things. But the determination of something is up to you. Remember, the one thing that we have been blessed with, all of us, has been the gift of choice. So you are free to choose whatever it is you want. But here's the thing: you must be able to live with the consequences of that choice. And sometimes when we get into what something is or isn't, we don't often think about the consequences or the repercussions of that particular choice. Which brings me to the next thing. Agendas are neither good nor bad. It's what we are pushing in the framework of that agenda. So let's be clear. There are a lot of agendas out there nowadays that have negative connotations behind them. And some agendas uh, don't have negative connotations behind them. But yet, the consequence behind pushing those agendas are leading us down a road of destruction. There was once a wise there's a saying out there that says the pathway to hell is often paved with good intentions, right? So you can think that the thing you're trying to push, or the framework in which you're trying to push, or the thing that you're saying or you're going for is leading you in the right direction, when really it's leading you in the opposite direction of the way you want to go. And how do you know this? You get to see the results in each and every time you do something, in the way the world revolves, in the way society begins to take shape. When you start saying, for instance, when we started saying bad is good and good is bad, at first it was just a way of saying something was different or something was unique, right? But nowadays, that that um, thing is so twisted that we are literally thinking bad is good and good is bad. Let's look at it like this. And I'm gonna talk from the standpoint of a black person. And our community, we oftentimes frown upon those things that are the most productive for us. Being upstanding citizens, uh, uh, being productive citizens within society, education at large, not just, and I'm not just talking about societal education, or institutional education. I'm talking about common sense, because sometimes the things you were taught are not the things that necessarily make for a good framework within culture. Sometimes you need to question what you are learning or the things that you've been taught in order to learn something different and restructure the framework. This is why the Bible tells us we have to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, which is something that we often don't like, because most of us don't like change anyway. We like comfortability. We like knowing that everything in our lives is going to be consistent. And as this goes into a relationship, in that particular framework, the agenda for you may be to find somebody or someone that fulfills a certain framework or a role, right? But here's the thing: you can't force that upon somebody that doesn't have that same mindset. Though, so the objective is going to be to find somebody that fits within that framework, so that you two can collaborate on the same ideas and continue to push forward no matter what is going on in your life. You get what I'm saying? So, in the framework, when we start talking about agendas and whether something's good or bad, you need to begin to look at the outcome and what's happening when you're pushing this particular agenda forward. And I can say this: don't let your feelings dictate or whether or not something is good or bad, because at some point, what feels good is not necessarily good for you, and what feels bad may be the thing that you need exactly in order to push yourself forward, in order to get into the next place, in order to push yourself into that next arena. And you got to find that for yourself in each and every phase of your life. And I'll tell you this: it's probably easier with somebody's with somebody's guidance than it is to just learn from experience, because you cause yourself more trauma and drama in your own life when you try to do things on your own. Remember this: everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody. We were all made to help each other out. The thing is, we've got to find the purpose in which we can do that and fulfill that well, so that we can continue to move forward. So, uh, let's talk about the next thing. I believe that the word agenda gets a bad rep because of what's forced out here nowadays. And here it is: when you hear the word agenda in media and on social media, what is it often framed behind? Something negative, right? Oh, this person is pushing their agenda. Oh, this person is 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 uh is spreading their agenda. Oh, this person is trying to lead with their agenda, blah 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 blah. And I know I'm sounding extra political here, but there's a bad rap behind the word agenda. And it here's the reason why I would say that. It's because oftentimes when you hear that word, it goes with the connotation of somebody forcing something that's unwanted within a framework that nobody is asking for. This is why agendas get a bad rep. Think about it. If people would put this into context of saying, "Hey, look, this is what my agenda is, and if you like it, you can roll with it, or if you don't, then stay away from it. But just know this is how I tend to do things, or this is how this group tends to do things, or this is how we do things." I think things would be a lot better, and that word would be used in its proper context. But because oftentimes it is related to something that is being pushed that is either unwanted or misrepresented in a fashion that it shouldn't be, it often gets a bad rep. Even if that thing is good. For instance, think of how many times they have said, "Don't push religion, don't push religion, don't push religion," right? But as soon as we stop pushing it, look at how things slowly started to disseminate, and how things started to degrade, and how things started to fall apart. Now, I'm not saying that religion has all the answers, and nor am I saying that that uh, you have to do anything. But I'm just saying, let's look at the results and measure what we've been doing by the results that we are getting. You can't argue with reality. You can't argue with the facts. You can't argue with what you see, right? And if what you see is not representative of what the outcomes you want, then maybe it's time to try something different, or maybe it's time to go back to the drawing board and see what was working before, and then infuse that in whatever you're trying to do now. So, here we go. Agendas nowadays, right? I believe that agendas nowadays are oftentimes negative, but they are put in prominent positions because of some of the views that they have, right? And everybody wants attention and for their point of view to be represented in a broad perspective. But here's something you must know. In order for something to be represented in a broad perspective, you've got to have the majority behind you. And manipulation and fear is only going to work but so long. Because eventually somebody or a group of people are going to rise up against what the agenda is and say, this is not what we want to do anymore. We're seeing it in our country all the time. And I know I'm sounding very political, but I told you I want to give you some commentary on what's happening nowadays, not only just in the perspective of relationships and dating, but in everyday life, so you can know how to navigate things from different perspectives, right? And oftentimes when you hear about agendas, it's from a place of prominence, from people who we see as above us, or at a higher plane, or at a higher status, or at a social economic level that is above ours. So we aspire to the things that they have. So we take that agenda and we begin to push it, not knowing that that agenda may be the very thing that brings you to oftentimes to your end, and is not going to really allow you to get to the place where you ultimately want to go. So it's simple. Here, here's what I'm going to say about all this. And I didn't really want to uh, put a whole bunch of time into this tonight because I feel I feel that this one kind of explains itself. And in order for somebody to properly explore what agendas are and how they work, you need to dig into it for yourself. I've already defined the definition of it for you and kind of pointed out a few things. But my thing is to give you a broad strokes and to paint a broad picture for you so that you can kind of make up your own mind on what you think is true. But I will tell you this. I'll tell you this. And I'll never stop saying this. There's only one truth. There's only one defining truth, right? And the more you align yourself with that one aligning truth, the better off your life is. I'll say it again. The more you define yourself with that one aligning truth, the better off your life will be. There is a creator out there who has an agenda, and his agenda is to spread love and show people his truth, lead people to his son, lead people to the only one who came and died for us, which is Christ, and to show you a better perspective, a better agenda in life besides the one that you are currently doing. And I know it may be, I know this may seem unpopular, and you're probably asking me, why are you saying this? But I told you once again, this is the lifestyle I lead. So if you don't like it, then at this point, I would suggest you tune out, because I'm not going to stop talking about that. It's part of me. It is part of me. It is my lifestyle. It is something that I live by, and the proof of it is in how I act. And I'm not saying that I am perfect. I am not saying that I have everything all together, because ultimately the life of a believer is that of somebody who is continuing to be changed. It's not somebody who has it all together. Because I am no different from you guys. The only thing that makes me different is the fact that I have somebody that can change me and change my perspective of thinking. That's what makes me different. Other than that, I'm walking the same life, and I'm doing the same things that you guys are doing. That's the agenda. That's the role that I'm looking to play in all this big thing. So in closing, let me say this. In life, you're going to hear about different agendas, different viewpoints, different things that people want you to jump on board with. It is on you to not only to explore that and look into that, but it is also on you to figure out which way you're going to go, and how you're going to make that thing work for yourself. Because at the end of the day, that the choice is yours. The one thing that you can do for yourself is find out whether or not you're traveling the right road. And for those of you that think you're doing so, fine. Just find out what happens at the end. But my hope is, don't find out when it's too late. Look into it now and make sure that everything that you're on the right track. Don't let the agenda of other people persuade you into doing things that you know are against your nature or against the way you think or the things that you believe. I'll leave you with this. If you don't believe in something, you'll fall for everything. And that's all I got to say about that. I hope that this gave you some perspective. Once again, I will be back with another one-on-one at the end of this month on Monday. Check out that Instagram page, and I will see you guys back again for another one. Hopefully, I think I may set that one up on a Saturday because that topic is going to be special. But stay tuned. I will be continuing to post on Friday nights at 11. And hopefully I can bring some more people into these discussions as I build a following. So once again, like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Grace and peace to you all. Have a good night.